Hello everyone. I'm going to explain chapter 8, how to work with menus and preference. So through this chapter you're going to learn how to create menu and how to add menu items and how to support preference for users. And also you're going to learn how to pop another activity, another layout. Alright, so let's get started. And before start, I'm going to show you how your previous application look like. So that is the current version of application. So you can edit, apply some the styles and themes, and you can see the bold font here. But right now I have all options in this layout, right? And I don't have anything to choose preference, and I don't see any menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button or menu icon will be shown in the top bar, action bar, and also move this part to preference for users to choose it. The reason is once this kind of option is selected, the option is not that not that frequently selected. So I'm going to move this part to the menu preference. Alright, and then let me show you what interface I expect once we are done with menu and preference. Okay, so I've just ran desired interface of application. Alright, so the rounding and split is gone, right? But the menu is here. So let me choose it. And if you, before going to setting, let me show the about. And if I choose about, new layout is shown, right? And if you select other empty area, then that is gone. Right, let me go to setting. Okay, remember percent rounding. Yeah, you can choose rounding or not. And if you choose tip, okay, let me choose it, and rounding is gone, right? So let me select that one, total only. Okay, and okay, so maybe choose different. Okay, so total is only the total is rounded. Okay, right? But I mistakenly deleted the split here, so I will leave split to the person at the bottom of this application, but I will move the round option to into the setting. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. All right. So let's move. Well, many of applications. Well, if I believe many of students already have downloaded lots of apps on your smartphone, and you can find the settings and preference in your app. But so far, our calculator app didn't support any settings. So we're going to add a setting here. But you can see, you may see the setting by clicking some buttons at the bottom, or you can locate the menu item, menu button, Eclipse button at the top, or you can leave it as a button form, or you can make an icon to change for users to go into settings or to show about. So menus can be shown as display as text, and menu can display as icon, right? Or action overflow icon. Well, it is sometimes called the Eclipse button. Okay. So I'm going to show you how you choose what options you can choose for menus and settings. Alright, so first you need to add a menu. Okay, you need to add a menu, but these have to be to add menu and menu item. You have to open your folder, but this project is chapter 6 tip calculator. So before start to add, which follows chapter 8, I'm going to copy another folder, right? But to copy it, I need to make sure Android Studio is closed. So before making copy, I'm going to close that Android Studio. Okay, and then so this is my folder, and I will Android Studio is closed, and I will make a copy. Paste. Alright, and Windows will make a copy. Alright, well, but I need to change its name. Tip calculator copy, no. Chapter 8, tip calculator. Alright, it's changed. And let me open Android Studio. Okay, it's in here, chapter 8 calculator and new window. Okay, so I could see it synchronized with Gradle server, and let's see the structure of application. Okay, so it's done to open the project, and let me go to on the resource. So many of resource we probably worked in our tip calculator, right? But if you go to menu, that is the file where you can add, where you can set up for settings. Okay, so we only have one menu item, which is setting, but it's not shown yet, right? It is not shown yet. But anyway, if you open the file, then you'll see what will be showing. If once the users choose some item. And what I will do is I'm going to add more menu item. Okay, so again, the applications has two menu items, settings and about, right? But even if you choose settings in your existing application, it doesn't show anything, but we'll have to add it. So anyway, because we have setting, we'll have to add about, right? And to add it, we have to edit menu the file item Android. Oh no, not this one. ID, you have to set it is ID. Okay. Alright. But just like ID for settings, right? Settings, we have to, it's better to modify strings value here, right? What is about? What is the setting here? Settings here. So I'm going to add menu about. Okay, and menu about will be used in menu file. Okay, equals at plus ID menu about. Okay. Oh well, I think I missed something. Let me go back to strings. Settings. Okay, that is it, right? Yeah, that is it. Menu setting. No, it have to be I, right? Menu about. And Android title equals string menu setting. Android. Okay, well, I think that's it. Right, well, but I think I need to delete one. So, but I will need to set up Android show as action, and by default never was chosen, and I will choose never as well. Alright, so there are several different types of show option for show as action, and that is described in the your textbook. Always shows always, never shows never, and if you choose if room, it will show if there's a space. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back. And then if you have, okay, there are several ways to display, right? If you display it as text, and there is limited space between calculator, which is title, your application, and setting, right? So if you have another menu item, then it may be shown depending on the amount of space, right? And if you choose icon, it slightly have more space than text. So it really depends on how large your smartphone or how large your virtual machine is. Okay, let me test it. Let me choose always. Okay, let me choose always. Alright, then if you change it, then you'll see how it look like, right? Settings. Oh well, something's wrong here. ID. Okay, maybe you need to go to okay, I don't see where I can find this. Let me think about. Okay, so I found an error. It have to be, in title have to be menu about, right? Not setting. Right then. Menu about, string, menu setting. Okay, let me copy here, and I will paste. And about have to be about. Alright, so I gotta have about, right? And let me add a dummy menu. How much space to see how much space I have. About task 1 with a dummy ID, okay, and task 2, and still I have space. But as long as I have space menu, the entire name of the application will be skimmed, right, like this. Let me add one more. Test 3. Okay. 4. So it's gone, right? Because I set the show as action as always. What if we choose if a room? Okay, if room. Okay, if room setting goes under about, right? And let me choose it. If room. So your Android Studio think it is enough to display the first two menu items because there is enough space. But the later ones, like about from test 1, 2, 3, 4, goes under that icon. That means that menu item will be shown if you choose this button, right? So that's the how-to. So by seeing the three options, you have to think which will be ideal for your apps. Okay, and also you can show as a title, which is like just like my application, or you can show icon only. All right. So to add icon, you have to download the icons. Okay, from base code, and I already downloaded two icons, right? I see about PNG, I see settings. You have to download both of them. Okay, download it, save as, and the file need to be saved under new folder, new folder 2, and I will save in a new folder. Open IC about. Okay, and then I'm going to download IC settings. Save as is. Alright, and let me open the folder. Okay, and you have to copy those two files to the specific folder into your project. Okay, the location is have to be under drawable. Let me open the folder using Explorer. Okay, then it shows some directories, right? And if you go to I think, yeah, XHDPI, you only have two icons, right? But that is the location you have where you have to paste it. So I'm going to copy those two files and paste here. Okay, well, it takes some time to refresh. Okay. Okay, looks okay. And then that's the location where you have to refer. Okay. Let me go to activity calculator, and then I'm going to delete unnecessary menu items. And so far I don't have any icon, right? But if you want to add icons, you have to type Android icon, and then you have to determine drawable. It has to be settings, right? IC setting. The reason I got the path is I copied and pasted it into this folder. Okay, and also you have to make certain icon for the about menu. Android icon, okay, equals IC about. Okay. So as you can see, it shows as an icon, right? And you can make as never. Okay, then it's changed like this, and never. So if you choose never, only the title shows in at the bottom, but if you choose always, then the designated icon it will show in the top. Okay, So that is how to manipulate, how to adjust the view of the icon and menus. Right, so that's where I copied, pasted, and alright, so to make it show, well, so far you can find the menu icons maybe seen in your yeah, your interface or designer, but actually it doesn't mean it will show the application the application will show the icon or menu. Let me make sure. Okay. Okay, well, although I created menu icons and I can see some icons here, but I don't have any option. The reason is I haven't set up anything for the menu. So you have to modify some of your source in Java code. And if you go to Java file, okay, then you have to override some method, which is described here. Public boolean onCreate option menu, okay, option menu. Then you can make the menu icon or up button will be shown, right? Let me go to let me find let me type the method, let me override this method in Java code. Okay. Okay, let me find some appropriate location to override. I think it will be on create. Yes. If you go at the bottom of this method, that I think that is good location to override. Okay. Override. Okay. Public boolean on create option menu. Get manipulator, inflate R menu, that will have to be inflate, or well, in other words, that's what will be shown at the menu. Activity menu calculator, okay, yes, menu. And what you have to do is you have to return true. So by returning true, your app can make sure if the menu is correctly created. And we haven't import the class yet, so you have to hit Alt and enter, then you can import class. And you have to implement. Okay. Alright. I don't know why I have error here. Override. Oh, I need to extract interface. No, I don't think. Okay, I found the reason. I skipped S. So the method you need to override is on create options menu. Okay, then and I need to import the class again. Then the error on override is gone, right? So now your application is ready to show your menu. Okay, but still you need some more. Okay, so let's do next. Let's move to the next page, and then that is method that you need to override when some menu icons, menu items is selected. So first, as I showed before, if this about is shown, this some short interface will be shown, right? And if your settings is selected, the preference will be shown. Okay. All right. So let me simply copy this code to apply to my application. So I just copied this code and I will override, I will paste to my app. Alright. Then once you copy it, menu item is not, the class of menu item is not imported yet, right? Let me import, and let me import. Again, this part I can't select this part, right? That is help that you shouldn't type this part. If you want to type this in settings and the third parameter, then this second hint for first and second text will be automatically generated by Android Studio. Okay. So let's see, make text return, and before, to show different activity, what we're going to do is to make sure if the correct menu item is selected or not. Okay, and let me run. Okay, I can see, right? Because I override the method, I can see the menu, right? Let me click. Selecting. Setting is shown as a toast message, right? And about is shown as a toast message. So it means I need to do something in this case, right? Right, and then let me just disable those two. Okay. So far we are good. Then what you have to do is you have to start new activity. Okay, application context setting activities class. So the new class will be loaded once the menu item selected. In other words, if I select settings, then setting activity class will be activated. Okay. But right now we don't have any setting activity class, so we have to create before or after this method. Okay, let me create additional activity for settings and about. Okay, there are two ways to show new activity. Start new activity. Well, the first way to type or way to code is actually not recommended. So the one statement line is recommended. So let me copy it, and I will paste to this part. Okay. Oh, no, just have to be for certain settings, right? New intent. Start activity with new intent. Get application context and setting activity. And this part will be about activity. Okay, but we don't have about activity and setting activity. So let's create setting activities and about activity. Okay, setting activities. So you have to create settings activity. Okay, let me copy the name of class, and I will create a new class. Okay, here. Name setting activities, right? Extends, there is a class. Superclass is activity. Okay, Android app. Interface, no, we are okay. And public, done, okay. Well, I think it's good. Alright, so new classes is just created. And because, well, we don't have anything, well, but anyway, we create a settings activity, right? So if you go back to tip calculator, then the errors related to settings activity is gone, right? But let's continue to create a settings activity. Alright, what we have to do is we have to override some method which is onCreate, right? Go to folding refactor or override. Okay, well, I don't know, well, how, okay, let me just override it. Override public void on create bundle saved instance state. Okay, and then add supercall. Okay, yeah. So after supercall, call super a method which is defined in upper class, you can override, right? Okay, what I'm going to do is, well, let me add some comments. Display the fragment as the main content. So do hope once, well, what I intend is once a setting menu is selected, a new fragment which contains round will be shown as main content. Okay, then, well, I'm going to add I'm going to add a line to get the fragment. Okay, to get the fragment, you have to run fragment manager, which is a method which defines upper classes. And begin transaction replace. And to run this method, you need to have two parameters. First one is numeric, and second one is setting fragments. Okay, Android r dot id dot content. All right, that's the well, by having this parameter, that it returns the returns number. Okay, so you're okay. And new settings fragment. Well, actually, commit. So that is the only the class will be loaded by the method in this class. Okay. So actually, to actually show the setting menu, we have to create settings fragment. Okay. So we have to create a settings fragment, and settings fragment is extended from preference fragment. Well, because that is it runs as setting and configuration for your app. Okay, so we need to create another class, settings fragment, and it extends from preference fragment. Preference fragment. Okay. And well, you don't need to implement. You don't need to implement any other interface. All right. And then, just like the other class, which you use as for activity, you have to override method you have to override on create method. Okay, so to override, we have to override method public void on create bundle saved instance state. So we created some method, right? On pose, on create, which is used for when to save your preference in the previous assignments, and that will be heavily used in this class. Okay, bundle saved instance, which loads and save, export, import to the save instance state, and whenever you post your application, such as going to other application, that will be loaded by application. That will be exported and that will be imported. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to run. You have to call super method, right? On create saved instance state. Okay, then add preference from resource, this one, or the XML dot preference. Okay, so you have to remove errors, you have to import bundles, okay, and you have to define preference. All right, that's what you have to do. And in this preference XML, which you have to define, you can determine what information will be saved. All right, and you have to be preference have to be saved under XML. Okay, and to create XML under resource, you have to create resource file. Okay, and source directory name have to be XML. The name have to be preferences. Okay, then you can see preferences.xml is created under XML. Okay, so in this file you can define what will be saved into status. Okay, and you can save checkbox preference. Well, let me copy from textbook. Okay, so those files will be saved under the state, okay, into state. Remember percentile, summary, and those will have to be saved in the file. And as long as you have preference file, set a preference, preferences is okay, right? And now you are ready to import intent. And if you hit Alt Enter key, just like in the, described the tip, will be imported, and those two errors are gone, right? Now let me test the settings. Okay, and but before test the application, we have to see the preference. Okay, so we have list preference, right? And also we have to check preference. So those will be loaded, will be shown once you select settings under your menu. Okay, but I think we still cannot run the application because we haven't defined about activity yet. Alright, so let's just like setting activity, I'm going to create about activity class, and we have to create several class here, and it have to be about activity. Super class, it have to be activity. Alright, and then hit OK. And just like your activity classes, you have to override, right? You have to override public void on create with bundle parameter, bundle saved instance state, and okay, on create. And you also need to call superclass super on create saved instance and set content view are. So by this method, so you can find this same method is called in a tip calculator. Okay, on set content view, by having this method, predefined interface file, which is the activity tip calculator, will be shown as an application interface, right? So what I'll do is I will call certain XML, and to call this method we have to define we have to define activity file, which have to be saved under layout. And by the way, let me give the name first. R dot let me create activity file first. Okay, activity layout resource file have to be activity about. Okay, and have to be saved as layout under relative layout. Okay, let me create again layout activity about relative layout and hit OK. So we have empty activity, right? Let me go to text. And what I want to show you is show some help message, and I will add text view here. Then text will be about let's see let me make ID text, text about. Okay, and Android text equals at string about description. Okay, so I haven't defined the about description yet, right? So to define it, I need to go to strings and we found it. String about description, and let's explain about my application. This app is for calculating tips with a given with certain percentage of tip, and this version support settings and about under menu. Okay, so that will be loaded this file. Okay, and let me delete it. Okay, so it shows this app blah 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 blah. Okay, so I can make sure it is left by the text is left by text view. And let me go to tip calculator. So if you choose design, by default it doesn't show menu, right? But you can actually you can make the menu shown in this design view. the way to choose is let me choose the Nexus 5 because that is my default where is it, virtual machine. Okay, and then you have to choose this one. Okay, yes, layout decoration, show layout decoration. Then you can see how the application actually look like, right? But if you don't select it, only this main body part will be shown, right? But if you choose it, mock application will be shown, mock interface of your application will be shown in this top. Alright, so let me start. Let me go to about activity. Now because we created about activity, layout, which is this one, is ready to layout, ready to decide the about activity to be shown as content, activity about. Okay, so the arrow is gone and arrow is gone as well. Arrow is gone and here as well. Start the activity. Right, let me start my app again. Then you can see no resource found on match. String members percentile. Okay, I need to, yeah, that is not defined yet, so I need to define. Let me quickly copy. Okay. And I have to, well, I think that members percentile, member percent summary is not defined in the menu, so I need to define string values. So go to strings and okay, right. Oh, that is not defined as well. Okay, I need to copy. Okay, so let me go back and I will run my application. Okay, no error. Okay, so almost 15 minutes are passed. So I'm going to cut the video clip after showing, after selecting those two menu icons. Right, well, I guess some error. Let me show you. Okay, well, we'll continue. I'm going to continue to check out where the error is, where the error are made, and okay, before moving to next one, I'm going to go to logcat to check out the errors. Okay, all right. Let me clean first, and then I'm going to run the application again. Well, logcat function is quite useful for when you need to debug your app. But just sometimes I also need to also make some mistake, and we always utilize logcat or toast or any other function to debug, which is embedded in Android Studio, so I could debug more quickly than you do. Right, so let me go to app, and before select the menu item, I'm going to clean the log. Okay, and alright, where is activity not found exception, unable to find okay, so that means I think I have some error in my file related to activity. Okay, tip calculator here. Okay. So new intent activity class is happened and the class itself has no error, but I think when so I'm going to debug where the error happens. Okay, so I found the reason. To add additional activity, you have to define additional activity in manifest file. So because activity is not registered, you can't load activity. So let's go to application. Activity tip calculator is defined like this, right? Just like tip calculator, you have to add another activity, which is for about activity. Okay, so com dot bang dot tip calculator. All right, unit added, right? Okay, and Android label equals strings about title about activity. Okay, that's enough. Android. Okay, let me define a theme. Okay, theme equals style. I will choose dialog theme because dialog theme is good enough for I haven't defined yet. Okay, text output, maybe text view, text output. Okay, so that will be enough. Also, just like about activity, I need to define another activity for settings. Com dot bang dot tip calculator settings. Okay, Android label equals settings. Okay, so also need to define activities. Okay. Oh. I need to close the tag. I need to close tag, yes. And activity Android name label. Okay, seems like I have no. Well, let's see. Add tool ignore. No. Okay, while I made a modification, I made a mistake. Well, I could find reason. All text this is not for activity is modified with activity. So I just changed activity to application, and you must have 3 activities within application. So I have 3. So far I have 3 activities. setting tip calculate activity and about activity and the setting activities. So let me run the application again, and let's see if I still have error message. Right. Error happened again. Well, let's see. Setting fragment. Well, it's not error happened when I run settings fragment, not in main activity. So it happens here, right? And so I think there's some issue of my preferences. But anyway, let me click the about activity, about button. Okay. Okay, so I could see the about, right? And now it's time to modify settings, right? So the settings is related to the preferences. I'm going to cut the video here now, and I will continue the second video clip. Okay, and thank you for watching. Almost for 1 hour, and I will see you guys in the next video clip.